He's so sure of himself. Thinks he's got every angle covered. Unless you want to see somebody else covered in a sheet, I suggest you search this place from top to bottom. You know the drill, partner. Start with prints and DNA. Anything they've touched. Let's hope trace evidence can shed some light on what Hammond's been up to. Looks like a print from a boot or a work shoe. See what it can tell you in the van. Hammond may have not been holding a weapon, but you better believe he was there, even if White didn't see him. We need something to link him to the chapel. Footprints, chemicals, tools, anything that may have come from there to here in the last 48 hours. I'm counting on you, partner. Good idea, partner. Look carefully at any documents you find. Hatman doesn't do anything by accident. Yep, it's a trowel. Scour this room, partner. Every piece of evidence you find is important, no matter how small. He didn't swing the weapon, but Hatman's behind this. Why did he want Marquis dead anyway? We've got to figure this out. Doesn't look like that push mower's seen use lately. Could that be what I think it is? Get it to the van, partner. It looks like irrigation equipment. The kind you build automatic systems with. Partner, I just want to thank you for putting yourself on the line here. I don't expect you to agree with everything I'm doing, but Hatman's lying. He might believe his own crap, but I don't. I'm gonna go talk to the priest. Hopefully he can give us some information.
Good day.
Not for Frank Marquis.
No.
I was hoping we could talk about him.
You're from?
I'm not from the local police. I let myself in.
Of course. I'm sorry, but I don't think you'll discover much from me, Mr.
Davidson.
I don't understand any of it.
Well, it doesn't make much sense, does it? White says God told him to kill Marquis. He says you told him that. But you didn't, did you?
I don't know. I don't remember, Mr. Davidson.
You don't remember?
No, it's quiet here sometimes. Sometimes I fall asleep.
You think God spoke through you while you slept?
I've felt God, Mr. Davidson. I've talked with him. Doesn't feel like this. When I came back, Marcu's body.
I'm sorry, Padre. It shouldn't have happened. Not here.
It isn't used much now. A few weddings in the summer. Attendance has dropped these last months.
What was Marcu doing out here anyway?
I called him.
You called Marcu?
The clock. It stopped. I was here to check the gardeners.
Hatman.
You know Marlon. He did all he could to help the boy. Gave him his job. He wanted to guide the boy closer to the Lord.
Really?
Yes.
The only thing he's closer to now is 20 to life. I got you some exemplars from the priest. Don't ask me how. Let's just say people don't lock their doors around here. Ah, the soft heel of the Lord.
These are pieces of watering equipment. I'd say Hatman's been assembling irrigation machinery. Hardly the work of a criminal mastermind, though, is it? I don't see how that's going to help us solve this case. You're going to have to keep looking. This won't help us. This print's messy, but you should be able to do a rough comparison with others you've found. There's traces of pollen, too, which could help us. It's a diagram showing a water treatment system. Hatman's marked the end stage for some reason. I wonder why he's interested in water treatment. It's a cog. A very small cog. Almost like from a clock.
From a clock? Test it against the clock from the chapel, partner. We have to know if that's where the cog came from.
That's a nice shot, but it's not evidence.
There's a print there, and DNA. Excellent. So you found evidence connecting White, Marcu, Hatman, and the priest to the chapel. Good work, partner. I know it looks like White's our killer, but remember, Hatman's clever. We've got to look deeper.
Those were the priest's footprints you found outside the confession booth. Did he really tell White to kill Marquis? He's certainly been in there recently.
Good idea, partner. That could be from the clock. But we won't know until we analyze it.
I'd say there's a high chance these came from the same shoe. But the print from the shed is messy, so it's hard to be sure.
You heard what the priest said. Marquis came to fix the clock. And you got a shot of it already. Good work. Maybe Hatman broke it to lure Marquis out to the chapel. It's not much, but it's all we got. I'll be back. Go to your evidence folder, partner. We need to know how that clock got broken. That print looks pretty smeared, partner. But give it a shot. If Hatman was planning something, it makes sense he did it from here. And my guess is he won't have been expecting us. There should be plans, notes, something. He's not the spontaneous type. Let's see what he's been doing. Other than gardening. Looks like a handprint. Good find, partner. Tools of the trade. I'm not sure what they can tell us, though. We need to figure out who the footprints in the chapel belong to. These may be able to help us.
This is a map of the district. I'm not sure what relevance it is, but you and Burton should take a closer look. I don't think this is the evidence you're looking for. It's the control panel for the watering equipment. Hatman likes high-tech hoseware. Seeds, fertilizer, timers. It's a reasonable list for a gardener. Fluorine, hydrochloric acid and acetate. Now that's not quite so reasonable. What on earth does he need with fluorine? These are Hatman's prints. No surprise there. There was a print in the spilled fertilizer. Looks like a boot or heavy shoe. You're going to have to keep looking. This won't help us. Those are White's prints. He's been busy in here.
That's good, partner. You found trace evidence from Hatman and White. We're that much closer to knowing everything about this place. Those are the same prints. The fertilizer is identical. They're too small to be White's. They must be Hatman's. If in doubt, check the trash. It's always worth analyzing footwear. And those boots look like they've been places. Well, that looks toxic. Looks like fertilizer. Could be evidence. Analysis will tell us more. These miniature succulents should grow well in this climate. At least Hatman knows something about planting. Pollen's a good way of tracking people. Every flower is different. Get shots of the flowers. They could help us figure this thing out. That's Glissando saturnalia. Very rare. But not the flower we're looking for. It doesn't have pollen. So there was something in the trash.
I don't see how that's going to help us solve this case. Good thought, but I don't think that's going to help us. Hydrangeas. Very fashionable. These are orchids. Dendrobium densiflorum. Burton's favourite. It's a high phosphate fertiliser. Good for gardens, window boxes, and making amateur explosives. I'm just saying. It's a fluoride-based solution. Maybe he was using it to kill mold, but there's much simpler ways to do that, like bleach. This is odd. Someone threw these away, but they're interesting. Actually, they're very interesting. The molecule on this paper is chloroform, a very strong sedative. It's not impossible that a gardener would dissolve pesticides in it, but you have to wonder.
These documents tell us that Hammond's interested in the town's water supply, weird chemicals, and God. It's not a mixture I like. So that's White's DNA. These are his boots. Good. Now we'll know if we find his prints. White's boot matches that print, the one from the chapel. White's boot is a match with that print.
The pollen in that print didn't come from this flower. It's the wrong genus. The pollen in that footprint you found in the chapel came from these hydrangeas. Whoever it belongs to was here, and at the chapel.
Good work, partner. Now we know which of the prints you found are White's, and we know where the pollen came from. We're getting closer.
The chemical notes and the list are in the same handwriting. Are left-handers, whereas White was right-handed. They must be Hapman's. What is he doing? Burton thinks the clock may have been broken deliberately. Its mechanism is fairly common, so I found you the blueprints. If you deconstruct it and match the parts to the diagram, maybe we can figure out what made it stop.
So there's a cog missing from the clock. Well, let's think about this. If it happened during the fight, well, the clock could be more damaged. So someone must have removed the cog deliberately. Could it have been Marquis?
Ah, Senor. We were just talking about you.
Sucking up to the law, Marlon?
I told the sheriff we were old friends.
You sure you want him knowing about that?
When a man changes, James, the past should be good enough to stay in the past.
A past like yours never stays put. My partner found a cog in your shed. Came from the chapel clock.
Oh, that. I found that in a flower bed at the chapel.
You broke that clock to get Marquis out there.
It was in the dirt. I was just doing my job.
You're no God's servant, Marlon. And you are no gardener.
Is it so incredible a change, James? After all, gardening isn't very different from war. All you have to know is which button to push.
Marlon, you were at that chapel. You knew everything that was going on.
Oh, you think an awful lot of me, James.
You lured Marquis out there. You somehow brainwashed that kid into killing him. Why?
Look at me. Can't you see I've changed? Can't you move on too, James?
I will. Once you're locked up.
You tried that once already, remember? Let it go, James.
Never. Keep up the search, partner. I'm heading into town.
Hello, Detective.
Word travels fast.
When it has to. Bottled water, please.
You're Georgia Flavin, aren't you? I read you were out here.
It's a place to work in peace. I paint, do a little healing when I can.
I like your paintings.
Thank you. They say you know Marlon Hapman.
They?
They. He's not what he seems, is he?
What gave you that idea?
He came to me with a woman. She was sick. He thought there was something I could do. I'm an artist, not a god. I know how it sounds, Detective, but his aura was dark. And I don't trust him.
He seems to think this place is pretty special.
Towns, cities, campfires. It's all just people trying to survive, look after their families.
Well, you've got Hatman looking after you now.
Someone has to, Detective. made good work of the gardens. He's got the touch. Now Marqueu's gone, I hear he's going to run the reservoir, too. But people don't just turn up in a place like this, make a new life, without a very good reason, I can assure you of that. Makes me curious why he... Detective?
Reservoir. That map you found in Hatman's shed showed the reservoir, too. We need to take a close look at it. I feel like we're on the cusp.